education, and we have a lot of teachers out there and principals and support staff, everybody working real hard to make sure that is accomplished each and every day. Those of us on the board, of course the superintendent, we have the pleasure of from time to time going around and visiting schools, or we hear from our schools and they tell us some great things that are happening. So we take a few minutes at the beginning of each board meeting to share any of that good news that's out there. So would any board member like to start this evening? Anything you'd like to comment on? Mr. Cologne.
So shout out to our HOSA teams that went to the state competition. Yeah. We had quite a bit of finalists that are going to be going to internationals, or national, I guess they call them internationals, but they're national, I guess. And so shout out to Galaxy Middle, who has a first-time middle school HOSA program, and they qualified for states. They had no idea they would even have a club in time to make it, and not be, and also to be successful in going on to, I believe they're going to Texas for competition. So kudos to Pine Ridge, in my district, Deltona High, and the HOSA Club at Galaxy.
All right, nice. Anybody else want to comment on anything? Ms. Wright.
And to the instructor at Mainland High School who received the $5,000, thank you for responding first, but he's well-deserved, and I'm sure he will use the money wisely.
Yeah. What was the name of that thing? You remember? It had a great name to it. Shuttle, not shuttle, but...
I'll tell you in a minute.
Celebrate. Celebration. SHELL.
Yeah.
It was about aquaculture awards. Celebrate. I just loved it. Yes, anybody else have a comment? Anything? I'd just like to say I was at Holly Hill School's math night, and so I'm going there and I'm thinking, okay, math night, they're going to serve pizza. And so I'll show up, get a piece, piece of pizza. And I thought there'd be like, 25 people there or so. And over 300 people were there. Over 300 on math. I was so excited. So anyway, shout out, math people out there. Okay, good. Anyway, it was great. So kudos to all those that made that happen at Holly Hill School. So let's keep going on our agenda, and let's see, have approval of the minutes of the March 12th workshop work session and the March 12th regular session and the March 26th special meeting. So we have minutes for all of those things. The board members have those. Are there any corrections or deletions to any of those minutes? Seeing none, then all those minutes will stand as approved as printed. Moving on to item 2.01, agenda changes. Mr. Russell.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I would like to remove item 11.19 for further study and review. 11.09
or 19? So we're taking that off. That was on the consent agenda. Yes, sir. All right. Any other changes from the superintendent? No? Okay. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda absent item 11.19?
Mr. Chair, I so move to accept the agenda with the necessary correction.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Cuthbert. You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, so the motion carries unanimously. Now it's time for our first public concerning items of general interest pertaining to public education. We have 12 people that wish to speak. You have 3 minutes to speak. If you don't want to take all 3 minutes, hey, it's okay. It's okay. You don't get penalized for not speaking your full 3 minutes. So come on up. The first one is Joanna Caney Oliveri. And the next person is Amy Dorton. So, yay, good. Good.
Joanna Caney Oliveri. I've been attending school board meetings regularly for 7 years, and yet tonight I come again to speak about testing. I just need you to understand what you're doing to our children. Your DIAs, I have to put it as simply as I can because I've been preaching about this for 7 years, are CRAP. I am so tired of it. My 6th grader took an ELA DIA. I don't know if it was last week, the week before, it doesn't matter. They all run together. Gets in the car and says, that was the hardest test I've ever taken. I said, come on, it's reading comprehension. What's so hard about that? You're a good student. Mom, it was about Gandhi. I couldn't pronounce some of the language. I didn't know what some of the words meant. There were 4 answers to choose from, and 3 of them were right. Why are we continuously, I'm just getting so angry. It's like a broken record. Yet you can scribble up a school schedule in 10 minutes, Mr. Persis, and that can fly. 7 years I've been asking for this district to get some student input on the effects of testing. 7 years, nothing, crickets. So I'd like to tell you about my daughter who got in the car last week and said, Friday, looks at her grade for her math DIA. Oh my God, Mom, I got a 93. Or 93, she was over the moon excited. No, last night she came home, it wasn't a 93, Mom, I knew I couldn't do it. It was a 73. The test was curved. So you blew my kid's self-confidence. I'm tired of picking up my kid's pieces. I want somebody else, whoever's writing these ridiculous tests, the 6th grade test that I told you about, Luca, I'm not here to complain about Luca's score. Highest score in the 6th grade at Ormond Middle, 95. Curved, 100%. I'm worried about all the other kids who don't have supportive parents that are picking up the pieces to mend their kids back together because they're broken after these tests. They have an effect. You may or may not want to realize it. They have an effect on our children. You are breaking our children. And then at the end of this summer, it's going to be perfect. You're all going to stand around and you're going to scratch your heads and you're going to be like, I don't know what's going on with the graduation rate. I'm going to tell you what's going on with the graduation rate. You're breaking your students. They give up. My daughter, who reads 3 million words, measured by reading counts tests alone a school year, not including summer, 3 million words. Here are her ELA DIA scores. 59, 60, 60. What's wrong with that picture? If you're reading over 3 million words a year, don't you think you should have seen every word in the book by now? Why is my kid failing these DIAs? And please don't tell me any more excuses about they don't have to take them. They do take them. Your data says these tests suck. Fix the tests, because the data is showing you 60% averages. What are you getting out of this? If I had a product that was failing me, but you know, whatever, let's just worry about the hoodies in middle school. Let's make sure they all have zippers.
All right, Ms. Thornton, you are up, and followed by Ms. Warnoff. Thank you. I'm sorry.
For the record, I second that. Amy Dorton, hi guys, how's it going? Ida, I love your shirt. It's really cute.
Thank you.
I have a colleague who is on the grading committee, the grading guidelines committee, and feels very much that that was a useless way to spend her time, because I understand that she was told 2 weeks ago that the district had decided to delay implementation of the new grading guidelines. I have several colleagues that were on the school day committee, and we didn't really do anything with any of their suggestions. And my question at this point is, when we left bargaining, we agreed to have these bipartisan, as you were, I mean, it's not, but two-sided committees to work on these issues that were still outstanding. 2 of those committees have finished their work, and nothing that they have brought up has been implemented or realistically even considered at this point. So what's the point? Like, it's clear that you don't really have an interest in what the people who are in the trenches every day doing the work of this school district have to say. And now we want to eliminate public participation at school board meetings, so we don't really care what the public has to say. And we left bargaining with this idea that we were going to work together to come up with these, solutions, but we don't really care what these committees of administrators and teachers have to say. So why are we even bothering with this? What's the point? It doesn't matter what comes out of these these sessions, we're just wasting people's time. And that's sad. I mean, it really is sad that it feels like the people who we elected to oversee this process, and I understand that you guys only really supervise 2 employees and make policies, but at the end of the day, you're the people that we come to try to fix the problems. But that's not happening. The district's made up their mind on what they want to do, and they're just rolling with it. And we're making these committees so it looks good. And then we send out surveys so it looks good. And I just got a new survey today about whether or not I want to pay extra money to have my middle schooler watched in the morning. No, I don't want to pay extra money so my middle schooler can be at school for 10 hours a day. No, I don't. I've sat here before and I've said the same thing, just like Joanna said. I've sat here before and I've said these same things. When are we going to start listening to the people that do this every day? I know you guys have been in classrooms. Why does it seem like those of us that have the least classroom experience are the ones that are listening to people who do it every day?
Thank you. Ms. Warnoff, and then Mr. Turner, Jeffrey Turner.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Russell, and school board members, I am Mary Jo Warnoff. I live at 30 Fallen Oak Lane in Palm Coast. Tonight, the hot topic is a change in school start-end times, purportedly to incorporate the additional 30 minutes in the elementary teacher schedule. First, their start time is only 5 minutes earlier. And from your or an administrative perspective, it is only 5 minutes. Not so. This past support negotiation, we asked for an additional 5 minutes for our paraprofessionals' break time, and that 5 minutes blew up in proportion. OMG, the change in perspective when dealing with district personnel is like looking into a microscope versus a magnifying glass. But I digress. Tonight, the topic is about schedule. Supposedly, it all began because we do not have enough bus drivers to handle the ridership efficiently or timely. One solution might be to pay drivers a living wage and hire more. So, therefore, the change. There are 63,003 students in the district, of which 43,000 are eligible to ride, and only 24,000 do ride. Now, with the changes you propose, what if 1/3 of the 19,000 remaining eligible, or an additional 6,333 students need to ride next year? Let me say that again. What if an additional 6,333 students need to ride next year? Are you prepared? Have you thought up contingency plans? It seems this plan, although to you it is a microscoped perspective, is the best solution. It would be prudent to step away from the microscope and look at the entire picture. What ripples will this change in this schedule make to the lake of reality? This affects more than school personnel. Let's talk law enforcement, i.e. traffic control, parents' work schedules, those with an elementary and a middle school child, plus arriving to their place of employment on time. There is a chance to readdress this and postpone the start time if it is a viable plan for the 2021 school year. My personal opinion is that those of you on the board, including you, Mr. Russell, that are former educators, you should be ashamed of yourselves for rushing this change.
Thank you, Mr. Turner, followed by Sharon Day.
Jeff Turner, 618 Ash Avenue, Holyoke, Florida. First, let me thank you guys for coming out and supporting me at Palm Terrace Elementary for those that came. Thank you all for your hard work in the face of tough questions and adversity. You stand firm, and I appreciate that. I further believe you ponder over our statements and come to the best conclusion based upon your experiences. Today, I ask you to ponder a little more. Consider the supervision of our students beyond the stint day, as well as the affordability of the parents we serve. Some elementary students now have no one to go home to. I know legally we are not responsible once they have left campus. But if something were to happen to one of our children based on our decision, what impact would that make on our community? I know funding for more staff and for our personnel was up for discussion for next year's budget, but could we consider a scholarship or something for those parents that are already living paycheck to paycheck, working multiple jobs, just so they can afford to come to the after-school care or that daycare that we plan on having? What is the plan for the middle school students in the morning? Do we even have early morning care for middle school students yet? We have to ponder over what solutions we'll come up with for the middle school students that will be dropped off early in the morning by parents that work schedules that will not change based on the decisions that we have made. Again, I get it, students are not, we're not responsible for the students until they're officially on campus. But what do we say to our constituents and to the community at large if something was to happen to one of the children while waiting outside the gate of the middle school? Do we have a strategy in place to help support our high school students? High school students may fare better academically based on the research, but how does that change help the affect the dual enrollment students, the extracurricular activities, jobs for some of the and supervisions for the siblings that they will have there? Have we had discussions with our stakeholders, business partners, and other counties to see how these changes affect them? I know you will make the best decision based on your experiences. You'll have a tough job, and I hope you've given a few minutes to ponder over what I've said. I will end by saying if something were to happen to one of my students that I taught at Spruce Creek High School about 2006, I wonder if I would call them, would I make tough choices and reach my hand out just to reach out to see if they're okay. If I had more time, it would take a few minutes just to talk about the greatest transformation that's taken place in Volusia County School, Palm Terrace Elementary, our leadership by Tucker Harris, our social emotional learning, how our attendance is up, referrals are down, and all over, scores up, but that's a whole nother discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Ms. Day, followed by Ms. Albert. Hi, Pastor Day.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Russell, Chairman Persis, and board members. I'm here representing the Faith Justice Organization, and on behalf of Faith, I want to let you know that we appreciate your attending our Action Assembly last night, and we thank you for the commitments you made before 1,600 people. And we look forward to working with you to get a plan in writing to reduce out-of-school suspensions. And we look forward to the first step being taken today with a motion to begin that process. Some of us will be here in person, and others of us will be listening online. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Albert, followed by Ms. Spies.
Elizabeth Albert, proud president of the Volusia United Educators. Good afternoon, Chairman Persis, members of the board, Superintendent Russell, and members of the audience. Trust is the confidence that one has in another, the understanding that one is reliable. It is built through relationships that are fostered in an environment of mutual respect and shared values. Trust is what we, the members of the Volusia United Educators, were eager to rebuild with the district and the board after the ratification of the multi-year contracts. We were looking forward to the opportunity to collaborate and work side by side with the district to solve problems and create pathways to success for all stakeholders. Yet, what we see is the continuation of the top-down decision-making process that all but eliminates the voice of those who do the work of caring for and educating our children every day. The decision of this board to implement the changes to the bell schedules in the 2019-20 school year is an insult to the employees who served on the Elementary Day Committee and to the 2,500 or 61% of the employees who took the time to participate in the survey, and arguably to about 10% of the parent respondents, as they self-identified as parents first before identifying themselves as employees. I wonder why they chose to do that. Perhaps they thought that parents have more clout. It's hard to tell. I also wonder what benefit is derived from turning a deaf ear to the wishes and concerns of those who will be tasked with doing this work. Why dismiss the concerns of the teachers and support staff who know the demands of the never-ending changes that occur each year in our classrooms? How does it improve instructional and academic outcomes to continually layer stress and frustration upon our educational professionals? Why would the board choose to eliminate the anxiety that filters into our schools when we set unrealistic timelines? And let's talk about timelines. The unrealistic timeline that is in place sets these changes in motion in August of 2019. That isn't very far away, only about 4 months. Why not wait until August 2020? Why not allow time to create a plan and work out the kinks? Is there some reason to rush? What is the hesitation about August 2020? What significant event, other than the beginning of the school year, also occurs in August of 2020? I'll just leave that there for you to consider. The chance to stand by the employees was completely in your hands and the ball was dropped. This was the first real opportunity that members of this board had to prove to the employees that things were going to be different. Trust costs nothing, but it is worth so very much. A year from now, all of this might be water under the bridge to some, but the employees will never forget that their voice did not matter.
Thank you. And Ms. Spies, followed by Ms. Comiskey.
Good evening. I'm Amy Spies, proud
Spies.
teacher.
Sorry, Amy. I should know better.
Volusia County and graduate of Volusia County as well. Good evening to Mr. Russell, school board members, and Chairman Persis. After teaching in Volusia County for 22 years, I have survived the assessment shifts, yet never have I been more discouraged and frustrated by the mandated use of iReady for both math and reading. In my January 13th email to you all, I cited specific concerns related to the lack of predictive reliability, lack of research to substantiate claims, misidentification of lowest quartile students, loss of almost 800 instructional minutes, misaligned question types, misalignment to our standards, and increased student anxiety. There is no transparency. These assessments can't be used for grades or PST monitoring. It doesn't match FSA format and forces 9-year-olds to endure high school math questions. I was told a survey would be sent to teachers in February. When I questioned why we never received one, it was explained there were too many other surveys related to instructional materials and bell schedules. The board's recent actions to adopt a never-before-seen bell schedule and refusal to delay implementation have demonstrated surveys don't count. More concerns will continue to surface. For example, we have to plan our field trips in May for the upcoming school year. Currently, we can only pay for school buses for the use between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Now, with middle schools not even starting until 9:30, when will buses be available for these trips, if at all? The rushed process to purchase ELA materials is alarming. Only 2 of the 3 options meet EdReport's basic requirements. The district committee has cited serious concerns about all 3. None offer any resources for social studies. When and how will those standards be integrated, and with what materials? Then there was the bombshell last week as our grade level team sat down to see how to best remediate our students in the final 8 weeks of school, only to find that the current ELA modules 1 through 3 are locked. Teachers no longer have access. This is just unacceptable. During our recent study of Greek mythology, I had the realization that the story of the never-ending punishment of Sisyphus aptly depicts our current situation. Sisyphus was forced to continually push a boulder up a mountain. If he relented, the boulder would either crush him or he would have to start again. The challenges we face in education are indeed the mountain. Never did I think that Volusia County, though, would become that boulder. Limiting our instructional time, imposing unrealistic scheduling, ignoring the stakeholders' voices, and compounding resource scarcity. I implore you to break up that boulder, support the teacher's journey up the mountain, provide sensible timeframes for implementation, remove the material shackles, allow for long-term, in-depth professional learning and teaming, not the knee-jerk, ineffective Band-Aids currently planned. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spies. Ms. Comiskey. And Heather Knuth.
Hello, Mary Comiskey, Edgewater. I want to say I was on the committee. I am not insulted. I feel supported and I feel heard. It is interesting that there are so many people here tonight, so few were present when you were doing your work on the 28th. I am here to bring to light just how nasty a few members of the public have gotten about changing school start times to fulfill the teacher's contract the union agreed to. I'm shook up because of an incident today, which I believe was designed to keep me from speaking, and I'm scared, but it didn't work. I'm not sure everyone's aware there is a reason to delay. A delay would have allowed a memorandum of understanding which would reopen the issue, which would allow the union to backtrack. Don't do that. Do not backtrack. A small but vocal and nasty group led by a Facebook forum with less than 5% following of Volusia County stakeholders is yet again stirring up lies and trouble. These are the kind of people who put up blog posts on their site like April 7th, angels and a-holes. You, by the way, are the a-holes. You're vilified. And apparently you voted 3-2 for the new start times. Facts don't seem to matter. What sort of moms put up posts like that? One said during the last meeting, "I wish you would just shut the F up." Who says that during a school board meeting? Please consider the more than 60,000 other moms who are stakeholders in Volusia. Cassidy, dig deeper. Your editor-in-chief did. One of those moms approached me here on the 28th to whine about a letter I penned, which Pat Wright published in the Journal. Bravo to Pat, by the way, for supporting your decision not to delay. Pat called me about that letter. He felt it was that important. The next day I received a written, "well said," from my principal. Written. Some have said to me I should be careful about losing my job for speaking out. They don't know him. Here's where things get scary. There was a vague threat on the View page about where I park my car, naming my workplace. That was removed by View today. People are afraid. People are afraid of getting fired. A student put out a petition with 1% of stakeholders' signatures, 1%, and that student will benefit from later start times. It was grammatically a mess. Because of a political agenda and the uneducated views of a few, you are getting backlash. I have a petition to support you. Most who signed, as well as dozens of teachers who have thanked me for speaking out, remain anonymous. They are scared. They're worried about my job, and after the last couple of days, my safety, and they told me so. They say so. They're worried about their jobs and their safety if they support you. What does that tell you?
Thank you, Ms. Comiskey. Heather, is it? And Leslie Sparks will be next.
Good evening,
Hi.
school
Good
board
evening.
members and Superintendent Russell. My name is Heather Knuth. I live at 235 South Walker Drive, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I'm the parent of a middle schooler and a high schooler, and I'm also a teacher within the school district of Volusia County. I'm here this evening to talk about the changes in the school schedule. My first question is why? I don't understand why we need to rush on this when we haven't taken care of so many other things. It seems like we jump into new things without even solving ongoing issues. We still have subs teaching critical classes. We still receive subpar custodial services. We still have a substitute shortage in some schools, especially with parasubs. So that creates safety issues. Bottom line, we're creating more and more stress for our staff members and myself as a parent with the changes that are going to be occurring with the school schedule. I am considering virtual school, frankly, because I can't get a child to middle school and be to work by 7:30. Just not going to happen. And the person who currently takes my middle schooler has to be to work by 8:30 in Daytona, so there's not going to be a way to get our children to the bus in a timely manner, and both of us get to work on time. So it looks like virtual school might be our solution. I also want to share with you that my husband has talked to several people in the community, and they don't understand why there's this big change. And of the people he's talked to, nobody is happy with the schedule change. So the people I've spoken to, I think about 10% of the people are for it, and the other 90% are like, what are they thinking? So I ask you, just like my 7th grader asked me today, Mom, when you go there tonight, can you ask them, can they change it back to the regular schedule? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Sparks, and then let's see, Ms. Short after Ms. Sparks.
Leslie Sparks, Port Orange, Florida. Hi. Good evening, Team Volusia. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. As a member of the Elementary School Day Committee, I was disheartened that our option we put to, that our options we put to you were put to the side for another choice that no one knew about and was approved. We knew as a committee that all of you would have the final decision, but I never thought our voice and the voice of all the stakeholders who voted would not matter. Input does matter, and so does our relationship with our fellow Team Volusia members in the community. A lot of people feel, why bother to vote? The perception is they already have a plan. So instead of being frustrated, I decided to approach this concern as a mistake. And in my classroom, we celebrate mistakes. As a team, we learn from each other and come up with a right decision and a solution. Mr. Aiken said that we have buses, but we just need drivers. Then maybe we need to actively find more bus drivers so we could go to a more efficient schedule and have a better system in place so that middle and high school could start earlier. I feel very strongly that we are rushing into this schedule, and I believe we need to slow down and remember that the children are the #1 priority, not the bus schedule. So let's celebrate this mistake and go back to the table and make the best schedule for all of Volusia County students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Short, and then Andrea, I can't read your last name. Cochran. You're the last one.
Hi, Kim Short.
Hi.
I'm here tonight because something was given to me by a teacher, and I wanted to make sure that we got past the whole start time conversation with the board before we could discuss it. I also wanted to make sure I had her approval to share it with you, and I did not make copies. It's pretty massive. She actually gave me the copy on the computer, so I actually just emailed it out to all of you so that you have it. I believe that she sent a hard copy of this out during spring break to Mr. Russell, to Rachel Hazel, and I know a couple other people in the district got it as well. It's basically her feelings on testing windows. And the reason why I want to bring it up in this way is because I feel like I hear a lot of complaints from teachers about testing and parents, but I've never seen a teacher ever sit down to this level and put together such a comprehensive piece of work on how exactly we do things versus another district that she used to work in, and give us such good ideas to how we should be helping our students. And I'm going to go back to the quote that we had at one of the last school board meetings, and that is, if we care about kids, then we should be doing the right thing by them.
Is somebody ill back there?
I don't.
Or is that just...
I'm sorry. So when you go back through, when you're going to have a chance to look at this comparison chart, you're also going to see that not only does she have specific ideas, but that her plan is so exactly what her concerns are exactly what the parents' concerns are, which number one is we need to focus on how to improve the quality of education for all of our students. And we need to stop over-testing our students. And I understand that the state puts a lot of pressure on everybody when it comes to how we get learning gains. But the way we did things this year, this find your five entire mentality, I have to say it's kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, educational malpractice. We looked at kids as numbers, and we said, this kid's close to a 5, let's get him some extra tutoring. This kid's close to a 3, or this kid, we looked at it like that, and that's what we did in our schools. And I really don't know how you all sit up there and you're okay with that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, it rips me up. And if somebody doesn't take this and start doing something with this, I will do everything in my power to make sure none of you are sitting up here come re-election time.
All right, and our last speaker, Andrea Cochran. Andrea Cochran, there we go. Good evening.
Good evening. So to you, Mr. Chairman, and the rest of the board and those in the audience, I'll be short and sweet. I'm an educator at Atlantic High School, and it is my high school students that are in the forefront of my mind as I consider the change in schedule. Although I agree and have read the research that my high schoolers physiologically would receive information better later in the morning, so many of my students will be impacted in the negative, not for them, but for their younger siblings. And so to that end, I would like to ask you to give parents and families additional time to make accommodations for the care of younger children, since high school age siblings will not be available in light of the new schedule, which dismisses elementary schools before the high school dismissal. Also, I want to point out that after Volusia County and the hospitals, our hospitality industry employ many of our parents, holding 2 to 3 jobs in that venue, and they may not have the available funds to pay for after-school care for those young children. Please be mindful, and I believe that you are. I just want to urge you, push you a little bit more in that direction, that while you're making the decision for our transportation, our buses, to be mindful that your decisions really impact, going back to spelling, P-E-O-P-L-E, that there are people that have to live with your decision. People like Lauren, who is a 3.8 student in my classes, getting ready to graduate, but she has to transport her younger sibling. Who will transport him next year? She's locally going to Daytona State, so it won't touch her as much, but I've got some other Laurens that are in my class that won't be available to serve their families. Please give that your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Cochran. And that concludes our public participation portion of 3.01. We're now on to resolutions 4.01. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is recognizing National After School Professionals Appreciation Week. And this will be presented by Ms. Terry Hauser and Cindy Fisher.
Hello, Ms. Hauser. Ms. Fisher, welcome back.
Good evening. Well, I'll start.
Go ahead.
Evening. Chairman Persis, Mr. Russell, and school board members. We are very excited to come
before you this evening. I'm going to turn this over to Terry, but just take a moment of personal privilege here to say how much I appreciate the folks that work in the extended day program, both at the school sites as well as at the district level, Ms. Hauser and her staff. I've said this to most of you before. As a parent of a now older young man, but as a parent, I could not have done what I did. I could not have done my job and gotten to my school on time and left my school when I needed to leave my school, which was not right away, had it not been for the professionals in the extended day program. My son is just about to turn 26, and he still, every time he's here, wants to know how the ladies are doing an extended day. How's Miss Debbie? You know, how's Miss O? He asks about them all the time. So a very valuable service that I believe we provide for our families, and just wanted to take a moment to personally say thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. All right. Yes. Hi.
Hi. Good evening, Chairman Persis, school board members, and Superintendent Russell. I thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time this afternoon, and I'm asking you to help me celebrate. April 22nd through April 26th is National After School Professionals Appreciation Week, and I'm asking the board to acknowledge this in recognition of the nearly 300 extended day enrichment employees. At 40 of the elementary schools, the school day does not really stop after the last bell. Approximately 3,400 students transition into extended day countywide. There are also 16 morning programs where students are welcomed before the first school bell rings. And of course, every summer we have between 12 to 15 programs taking place that run all day long. The students have a great time continuing much of their academic learning as they engage in STEM and literacy activities. They enjoy arts and crafts, engage in physical activity, and learn new talents and hobbies at different sites, including dancing, sewing, drawing, and much more. The students participate in community service projects as well. You can see in the slideshow some samples of what is happening throughout the programs, but this is just a very small sampling. Today, I ask you to recognize the employees who make this happen, the group leaders and the facilitators, and our 2 facilitators on assignment. And I must also include the 2 district facilitators, Kathy Cole and David Larrabee, and our office specialist, Nicole Percella, who all work very hard behind the scenes and also often are out in the programs themselves. The Extended Day Enrichment Program employees are some of the most creative individuals I have ever met. They are passionate about children and care deeply about them. They want to create fun and enjoyable and academic programs for students. I cannot tell you how many times I have been to different sites and have heard a student say to their parent, "Why are you picking me up already? I want to stay. Can I please stay later?" And in my opinion, that's most likely the biggest compliment a program can get. These employees are willing to share their ideas with each other and often get to know the students and families on a personal level, as they often interact with the same student year after year. When there are so many variables in a child's life, the EDEP staff are often a constant, as some of the children and the staff spend several years together. The EDEP staff has an opportunity to interact with parents and families briefly on a daily basis and are often able to help students through difficult times as they are made aware through these daily conversations about challenges the families may be facing. I often hear facilitators and group leaders that group leaders and facilitators that former students come and visit them to thank them. And we even have several group leaders who are former extended day students. They enjoyed their time in the programs and want to share that with the students now. It has been a challenging year in EDEP. However, we have so many wonderful employees who have persevered and come in each day with a smile on their face, ready to do their best, and know they are there because of and for the students. The smiles, the laughs, the hugs, the aha moments the students have, it makes it all worth it to these employees. When we host the trainings and meetings for our group leaders and facilitators, I'm always learning things from them, and they are learning from one another. I love their enthusiasm, and I love how engaged they are in activities and discussions. They are seeking information and ways to help them be better in their positions and to help them help their students. We look forward to incorporating Sanford Harmony into the programs next school year to help the students with their social emotional needs, although some sites have already started to do so. The facilitators and group leaders wear many hats in their roles. Too many to name them all. They are mentors, they are nurses, they are mediators, they are teachers, they are umpires, they are counselors, they are disciplinarians, and they are motivators. They are record keepers, they are supervisors, they are friends, they are so many things, and they are so very deserving of having April 22nd to April 26th recognized in honor of them and all that they do. So I ask you at this time to please agree to recognize National After School Professionals Week for them.
Thank you so much, Terry. Mr. Superintendent?
The superintendent recommends approval of Resolution 2019-15, After School Professionals Appreciation Week.
You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Second by Ms. Cuthbert. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by you have discussion. Yeah.
As much as you have memories, my daughters who are in their 40s have memories too. For the two new members, when I moved to Volusia County in 1986 as a high school English teacher, I didn't know what I was going to do with my children in the morning. Not only then, but in the afternoon, because high school lasted a lot longer than elementary school. There was a brand new pilot program at Chisholm Elementary that a group of very wise ladies wanted to put together. And I do remember the school district didn't want it. They felt that it was not their place. They thought about liability and issues. It all worked out, and so not only I think is it wonderful to celebrate this Appreciation Week, but also to say happy birthday, because it's, 34 years now that we've had this program. And I think a lot of people forget how much this has come just to occupying students' time after school until a real program with lesson plans and to find the right people. And it's very hard when you want to put the right people with our children. So I'm very thrilled. This is one of the nicest things I think we do.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Hauser, and please express our appreciation to everyone out there on Extended Day. Our next item is 4.02, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you. Resolution 2019-18, recognizing the month of April as School Library and Media Month. This presentation will be by a team of librarians, media specialists.
Love your enthusiasm. Love your enthusiasm. All right. So who's yes, hi.
The specialist for library media and instructional materials. I have here with me the part of the board for our Volusia Association of Media and Education to help us celebrate School Library Month. I'm going to go around and introduce them. We have Angela Young from Citrus Grove, Michelle McCoy from Campbell Middle School, Jody Adkins from Friendship Elementary, and Chris Smith from Atlantic High School.
Yay.
I am incredibly proud of our school librarians. We have all schools staffed with a certified media specialist. Yes. Yes. And thank you very much, because when I talk to other supervisors across, many times they will have holes. And I am very proud to say we are fully staffed. 3 of our schools have been identified by the state as power libraries, and we've been very, very fortunate with that. All right, so we're going to talk about the different standards. The American Association of School Library has media standards, and the first one we're going to talk about is inquire. Our library media specialists lead inquiry-based lessons that ignite natural curiosity. They design systems that promote flexible and collaborative teaching and learning. Our library media specialists create environments that foster and honor persistence, resilience, risk-taking, and innovation.
If you would introduce yourself again. And,
yes. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm with Atlantic High School. And I
I kind of organized this, but I wound up with the include one, and it's one of my favorite ones because we as media specialists, I've heard many of our principals talk about it being the heartbeat of the school, and include is so much a part of what we are. We as a profession are so excited to promote inclusivity, respect for diversity, both within our media centers and within the schools. We often are the ones providing programming and lessons that share our love for all, and we support our students' different needs, and we support a variety of programming that includes cultural awareness, support for diverse books, and even programming such as chess, or in the pictures you see, like lunch with their favorite dolls. So it's a variety of needs, a variety of kids. Yeah. All kids are welcome in our libraries.
That's great. Thank you.
And I'm Jody Adkins from Friendship Elementary, and collaborate is also one of the things that we do so well. Not only do we collaborate with our own faculty and our own staff, but we collaborate with each other. We collaborate with the supervisor of elections when we have our Sunshine State voting and the teen reads. And we also collaborate through our local FAME organization, but also on the state level. We have a huge presence at FAME, which is our state conference. And one of the pictures, you'll see one of our media specialists from George Marks, who's meeting an author. The author is James Ponte. And actually, a couple of us are in a book club with James Ponte. So we do collaborate in so many different ways. We feel that through collaboration that we broaden perspectives and work together for a common goal. And we also help our students to make informed decisions with new knowledge that can change their perspective on something, and that's one of the reasons that we love collaboration.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
We like each other.
Yeah, that's good.
Me. I'm Angela Young. I'm at Citrus Grove Elementary School, and I've had the pleasure of having almost everybody here in my library. Thank you so much. I'm talking about engagement, which is one of my favorites. We talk about engagement in a couple of different ways. We engage by helping students learn the rules for safe and ethical information, seeking, sharing, producing, because we have a global community. And so we have to teach them how to participate in that global community in a safe way. But my favorite way to engage is to engage students in exciting and meaningful activities. We teach skills because we teach. We're teachers. We enhance curriculum, and we build a literacy community. And I think that you can see in a lot of these pictures all the fun things that we do to build our literacy community. So I know at my school, we're getting ready for our Harry Potter night, which is really fun. We're gonna have Quidditch, we're gonna make wands, and it's gonna be fabulous, but everybody else is doing other things too. We all do things for Read Across America Week. We all have book clubs. We are in book fairs. We do One Book, One School. Thank you for coming to be our readers. And all different kinds of Literacy Week activities. And this is how we create exciting and engaging libraries for our patrons, which is not just our students, but our teachers, our administrators, and our families. So I invite you to come and engage with us.
Thank you.
To curate means to actually take, sorry, Michelle McCoy, Campbell Middle School, I already forgot. I'm so excited about this. So to curate means to actually take care of a collection. But it's not just us taking care of the library collection. We also teach students to take care of their own information that they gather for research projects and activities in the schools. School librarians lead by teaching our learners to find and evaluate and then choose reliable information. We all know that's a big problem in the world. School librarians lead by teaching kids how to curate their own collections so they can keep track of all their resources they use for various projects, science, social studies, whatever, and then we end up getting accurate citations and ethical use of information like Angela mentioned. Another huge piece of using information wisely. We also lead by showing learners how to share those collections amongst their peers and with their teachers for different real-world purposes. We also help our learners grow through reflection and revising those collections as they learn new information and have a change in perception, like we talked about. School librarians make this kind of learning possible.
All right, and our final one we're going to talk about is Explore. I think this one's the most exciting personally, but we all have our favorites, clearly.
Clearly, yes.
School library media specialists provide time for students to wonder as they explore content and resources. I want to thank you all for allowing us time to come here today to honor and celebrate our library media specialists this month. I know I saw a couple out in the audience as well here. So thank you very much. We appreciate
Where
it.
are they in the audience, the two other couple?
I think there's a couple. I saw.
If you're a media specialist, stand up.
I think the other one may have left. Sorry.
That is just great. It's just so much excitement. I'd love it, and the excitement that you share, and you make that filter throughout the whole school, and it's wonderful to see. Just wonderful. So many good things. Angela, and you're a tough person to say no to, so it's hard. Yeah. But go ahead, Mr. Superintendent. All of you are, I'm sure.
The superintendent recommends approval of Resolution 2019-18, recognizing the month of April.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Wright. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Cuthbert.
I just want to say how much your job description has changed over the decades. Until just a library, now you're a mega center at lunchtime, especially at the high school level, middle school level. You are also technology centers, and you're also, what I think is most precious, I think the most protected academic. And I have to make some kind of political comment. I do wish the state would recognize you as teachers and educators for the best and brightest. And I think you should, because if anybody works hard with lesson plans, it's obviously you do. So thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. Fantastic. All right, and we are now on 4.03. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, recognizing the month of April as Autism Awareness Month. And this will be presented by Ms. Kim Gilliland.
Hello, Kim.
Hello. I hope you all, I see many of you are sporting your autism awareness pins, and I hope you wear them proudly throughout the month. You don't have to put them on right now. So good evening, Chairman Persis, board members, Superintendent Russell, and community members. I am Kim Gilliland, your Director of ESE and Student Services for the school district. I'm before you today to share some information regarding autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, in an effort to spread awareness and build acceptance in the month of April and throughout the entire year. I'm going to get a little technical here. Autism spectrum disorder is a condition that reflects a wide range of symptoms and levels of impairment, which vary in severity from one individual to another. Autism spectrum disorder is characterized by impairments in social interaction and social communication, and the presence of restrictive or repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities which occur across settings. That's the definition. You may also hear people say, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. So nationally, there's an incident rate of ASD in 1 in every 59 children. In Volusia County, there are 1,122 students with the primary exceptionality of ASD, which matches the incident rate of 1.7%, as published by the Center for Disease Control. There are students with autism in every type of classroom setting in Volusia County, including gifted classrooms, general education classrooms, and ESE classrooms. Services are provided in our district from toddlerhood, from birth, all the way to age 22, if a student meets eligibility to defer the receipt of their diploma. Volusia County School District also runs an Autism Navigator program, which targets children up to age 3 and their parents. Services for this program are provided in the home by pre-K instructional support staff. Weekly for 1 hour, the families will receive consultation, coaching, and the support is embedded for interventions and daily routines and activities for these youngsters. Participation in the program receives free access to an online how-to guide and resources from Autism Navigator. Since 2013, VCS has been able to serve 54 students and their families in this program. In addition to Autism Navigator, we also provide other parent supports and trainings through the offerings of multi-session trainings to families pre-K through 5th grade. Pre-K children with ASD and provide childcare for those families free of cost. This has been in operation for 16 years, and we have had 2 different opportunities for families pre-K to 5th grade with ASD, and those are positive parenting for young children with ASD and building social communication in the home. Volusia County School District offers an ASD endorsement course free to any Volusia County teacher, which consists of 120 hours of coursework and over the course of about 1.5 years for teachers to complete. The results of going through this program allow teachers to have great strategies and also to receive a teaching endorsement on their certificate specific to ASD. Since 2011, 92 of our Volusia County teachers have successfully completed the endorsement program. This year, the course was rewritten and updated, and there will be a new cohort for teachers beginning in fall of 2019. During the month of April, you'll find a number of engaging activities in our schools to raise awareness and acceptance in our schools and throughout our school district. So today, I'm pleased to offer you an opportunity to celebrate our differences and our unique abilities that each of us hold, especially students with autism.
Yeah, so nice. You just offered so much information in that, but it's just so interesting. Mr. Superintendent?
The Superintendent recommends approval of Resolution 2019-16, recognizing the month of April as Autism Awareness Month.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I will gladly make the motion that we recognize this month as Autism Awareness Month.
Thank you, Mr. Colon. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Cuthbert. We have a motion and a second. Any comments? And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Gillian. Very well done. Very well done. We're on item 5.01, removal of items from the consent agenda.
I actually would. I'd like to take out 11.18, which is where we're declaring a portion. I know we pulled out 19, but I think that's all one big conversation. And to declare a portion of the property as surplus when we're not quite sure what we're going to do with it yet, I think I think those two things go together.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear. Did you want to take it off to discuss it tonight separately, or did you want to take it off and bring it back up at a later date?
I would like to take it off and bring it up at a later date.
At a later date.
Because we pulled 19, and so to surplus a part of the property when we haven't had the conversation about the whole property.
That's fine. I just want to make sure I understand what you want to do. So that's fine.
It's fine. Can I offer some
Of course.
insight?
Of course. Oh, sure. Sure.
The reason we discussed that today, Mr. Cologne, the reason that we left that on the agenda is that it's declaring our intentions, meaning selling the property at some point. But we can. Well, I'll be happy to remove it, and we can. We
have to have further discussion on that about that property, and so I think those two things go together.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're making a motion to remove item 18.01 and to be discussed at a later time, and I'm sure the superintendent will get
11.18.
11:18. I have 18:01. 11:18. It's been a long day. 11:18. Okay. We have a motion to take that item off to be discussed later. Do I have a second on that? Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of taking that item off to be discussed at a later time signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And so that will be discussed later. Any other board member have an item you'd like to be discussed separately or at a later time? All right, I don't see anyone making a move to do that. So may I have an approval now of the consent agenda items? And now we are minus 11:18 and 11:19. back to back. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
A second. Thank you. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? And that motion carries. So we have approved the consent agenda, now absent items 1118 and 1119. And now it's time for the superintendent's announcements, items 14.01.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tomorrow night is the Medallion of Excellence Banquet and Award Ceremony, Wednesday, April 10th, 2019 at 6 p.m. at the Daytona 500 Club. Tomorrow's leaders graduation will be next Tuesday, April 16th, 2019 at 5 p.m. at DeLand High School. The Battle of the Books, I wonder if the media specialists are going to be involved with that, will be Thursday, April 18th, 2019 at 4 p.m. at DeLand High School. Job fair reception will be held Thursday, April 18th, 2019 at 5 p.m. at the Homewood Suites by Hilton at 165 Bill France Boulevard in Daytona Beach. The instructional job fair will be Friday, April 19th, 2019 at the Ocean Center by invitation only. Applicants must have a completed Volusia County school application on file and be eligible for a Florida teacher certification. The first year teacher awards will be Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019 at 5 p.m. at Mainland High School. The Focus School Mini Job Fair will be Friday, April 26, 2019 at 7:30 a.m. at Stetson University. The Take Stock in Children graduation and new student induction will be Monday, April 29, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. in the Bill France Room at the Speedway. The school board workshop will be Tuesday, April 30th, 2019 at 10 a.m. in this boardroom at the DeLand Administrative Complex. The next regular school board meeting will be Tuesday, April 30th, 2019 at 3:30 p.m. in this boardroom at the DeLand Administrative Complex. That concludes my announcements.
Thank you. A lot of announcements, a lot of things happening here. Yeah, April, May. All right. Thank you for that, Mr. Superintendent. And we are moving on now to 15.01, Superintendent's presentations, district update.
We have an update by Mr. Aiken and Ms. Hazel.
Mr. Aiken and Ms. Hazel.
Just a status report.
A status report. The status of what? I can't.
That's to be announced.
I know. I'm just. It's been a long day.
Chairman Persis, board members, Mr. Russell. My name is Greg Aiken, Chief Operating Officer. With me tonight is Ms. Rachel Hazel, the Chief Instructional Officer. So we are going to update you on a timely and accurate update on where we are currently right now with the change in the bell schedule that you adopted a week ago Thursday. So right now we're 5 months out from the start of school, believe it or not, so time flies when you have fun. This board did look at option one, approved option one, that was presented to you with minor tweaks. Our transportation staff historically have always started in April, late part of March, early part of April, looking at a data set, moving what we currently have today, moving it over to another data set and start working on school bus routes for next school year. So that data has been moved over. We started looking at those routes currently right now. On the agenda for the next several weeks is the hazardous walking conditions review. We'll be looking at courtesy busing, our +1 bell schedules that we said we would address. Also looking at the alternative ed bell schedules to make sure that they meet the requirements for those schools, and also for our charter schools. Working with our charter schools, looking at their bell schedules to make sure they mirror what we currently have today. At the next update, I'll be more than happy to address any other issues you may have. We'll have a better idea in a couple of weeks, kind of like where we are, and then we can adjust as need be moving forward. As one of the comments earlier today stated that there's 43,000 eligible students that could actually ride today. That is true, and they could ride tomorrow if they wanted to, and so we always have contingency plans put in place to be able to accomplish that. So that's the update from the transportation side. I know it was fairly early. It's just been 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Currently where we are now, we are moving forward with making sure we have a good transportation plan for next school year, 5 months out.
Yeah, and Mr. Aiken, there was a comment earlier too about middle school buses only run from 9 to 1, or you couldn't get a bus.
Oh, you're talking about the, they were
Field
talking
trip.
about
Field trip or
in between route, or in between field trips. Thank you.
Field
Jeez.
trips, yeah, field trips.
It has been a
Remember
long
those?
day. Thank you.
I know, it has been.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so, you know, the current bell schedule that the board adopted starts at 9:30. Our buses are going to be dropping off at 9 o'clock, so we can be there at 9 o'clock and be able to do what we need to do to accomplish whatever we need to take care of for the between our field trips. Because now, instead of getting done at 1 o'clock, you know, school doesn't let up to 2:30 for elementary school.
Right.
So therefore, now we can extend it a little bit longer for those field trips
Right,
as well.
but you'll probably have to start it a little bit.
We could, you know, 9:15.
9:30.
9:30 could be, but you're not going to have to get back to the school till 2 o'clock.
Right.
So a little different.
Yep. Okay. Hello, Ms. Hazel.
Hello. I have a few updates on some other things that we're working on. The committee to determine elementary schedule, not the start and end times, but what we do in between the start and end times, has been identified. We have teachers that were identified from VIEW. Many of those teachers were the ones that also served on the Bell Committee schedule. They were all the elementary teachers that were on the Bell Schedule Committee were also invited to participate in this committee. And I believe they've all accepted, and then we have a couple of additions as well from Ms. Albert. We also have on that committee district specialists representing different subject areas so that we can look at the length of time that we have for each subject area. University partners who send our interns to us will be part of that and bring some research models to the table for discussion. And of course, administrators and other curriculum staff are going to be serving on that committee as well. We have our current guidelines that they'll be going over, and tomorrow will really serve as our organizational meeting to talk about where do we put the day. Keep in mind, we won't be really dictating a minute-by-minute schedule that every single school follows the same time, but more of how do we maximize the time that we have in those minutes within there. Additionally, it was mentioned, I believe, the extended day survey that was sent out. It went live today. It will be live for a week. It's 2 questions. It asks what school, middle school your child attends, and then if you would be interested in extended day for the morning time for our middle school students. And that will just give us a feel. That went out to 5th grade parents as well as 6th and 7th grade parents, and our schools are helping us to promote that. So we'll have a little more information about that probably by the next meeting as well. And right now our focus is really on communication. Our focus is getting out the answers to questions in a timely manner, to respond to questions that are sent to us, and to promote the times that were adopted so that everyone's aware and can make the plans that they need to.
That's great. Thank you all.
I've
done a lot in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention a couple things. We did reach out to Volusia County Sheriff's Department about the crossing guard time changes. Also, the county for the resetting the flashers or school zone signs. We also reached out to the SRD, SRO contracts to make sure the times change, right? Those are there. We also looked at the adjustment of the custodial staff starting a little bit later than they currently are today. Sure. That was the other part. I forgot to mention that in my brief there.
And we did, Mr. Chair, we did notify every mayor, the sheriff, and the city managers, county managers, and the police chiefs throughout the county.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, there you go.
Good news.
Got that one too.
Thank you. Questions for our presenters here? Okay. Anything
Actually,
else? Yes.
I do have a comment, and Superintendent and I spoke about this, and I wasn't aware that we were sending out another survey, which I'm not a fan of. I'll be very honest. I think that we have burned that bridge. And so if I had known, I would have probably said that's not a good idea, but that's okay, it's done. But I wish that we would focus more on providing that supervision at no cost rather than at a cost, because this was not a money-making venture. And the fact that we're asking families to would or would they not sends that perception that we were in it gives the vision of this was a money-making venture. And I know, knowing you, knowing your heart, that's not the case, and that wasn't the case for anybody sitting around here. I know that. But the public doesn't. And perception is real sometimes. And so I wish we could explore options that would be, you know, in our meeting when we had discussions about busing or as I described, rainbows and unicorns, we were talking about spending money. And so I am totally okay with us finding a way, and I don't know where that way is. I know Ms. Muller's probably looking at me funny right now, but that's okay. Finding a way that we can provide that supervision, whether it's the tutoring, preferably in the way of tutoring, whether it's, you know, organizing the clubs so that we know that on certain days those clubs are there. Band practice, I've had a lot of parents come and say, oh, that'd be great for them, but we've got to pay these teachers in order to accommodate these things. But it should be at no cost, because I believe that that's the time they spend in the afternoon for free with these kids, which now is going to translate to the morning potentially. And so I just wish we would explore options that, at least for the first year, can help buffer that time change and help a little bit of adjustment. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, let's,
I'd like to respond to that. This is not our first trip down extended day for middle schools, because parents have asked in the past, and we even experimented at a school to have it in the afternoon. We do plan to have clubs, tutoring. I think they should run cross country in the morning. They should have the practice. It's better than after school, you know, in the heat of the day. But the reality is this, and I know middle school principals, and I was one at Deltona Middle. Every day when I got there at 6:15, I'd have 5 or 6 kids there. And over the last couple weeks, I've had middle school parents saying, look, 8:50 was bad, 9:30 is worse. I can't even get them there. I need somebody to watch them. I go to Orlando at 6:30 in the morning. I don't call this a survey, I call it a needs assessment. And all I'm asking is, if we offer this, would you use it? And remember, with extended day, it's a tiered payment. You know, those parents that are not on free and reduced lunch, those that have reduced lunch, and those on free lunch. So it is tiered, payment system. It is just, we just need to see if parents need this service. Now tomorrow, Central Florida Superintendents, I'm hosting a meeting with them. We're going to be talking with Orange County. They start at 9:20. Brevard County has been at 9:30. We've already reached out to Hillsborough, and our conversations, what are you doing with that time, you know, when the kids arrive on campus? So what we're trying to do is gather as much information as possible, because as we've said all along, we'll give you timely and accurate information, but this is our gathering phase. Quite honestly, we thought at some point it was going to be the elementary that was going to start later, and so we were kind of planning what to do with the elementary students because they would come early as well. So it's just shifted a little bit. So that was the purpose of the needs assessment that went out. We just have to see the usage factor. And again, when we have variance hearings in the summer, many parents with kids going into middle school come and say, I need my child at the middle school by my mother's house because I can't get them there early enough, or I can't pick them up. And so, you know, that's the reality, you know, what we're looking at. And as I said, we've looked at this before for middle schools, but we've just shifted it to the, you know, AM, you know, and our idea was opening at 6:30. We know breakfast would probably be served at 8:50. In the morning, close to 9. We know this. When we're trying to think of our numbers, what are we dealing with? We know some parents are going to bring the children to school, you know, maybe 8:45, 8:50. And Mr. Aiken has always said 55% of students that are eligible to ride a bus, 55% of them do. So we're looking at that other 45%. and what can we do during that time to help the family. So that's the spirit behind our actions. And I know, with surveys, that's not a good word right now. So it's a needs assessment. We'll go from there.
And so, but if I could just comment on your comment, because I think it's a very good comment, and I wanted to say that the point about it will cost more money, probably with the district in terms of supplements for teachers, whether it be for the clubs or whatever the activities may tend to be in the morning, which I think would be great. But there will be a cost factor, not probably as great as the cost factor of buying additional buses and paying additional drivers. But since we can't probably afford all of that, we probably could find the money to supplement additional teachers to do the things that actually the teachers will want to do and may like having the opportunity to have some extra money. So that's not all bad. So if we can help the teachers as well as helping the parents, and indeed we are be helping the students too, I think that's what we need to be working on. So I think you need to be working on that part of it, along with whatever the needs assessment says that parents may or may not be willing to pay for. Yeah, because whether school starts at 8 or 7 or 9 or 10, the parent that has to drop off his child at 6:30 drops him off at 6:30, and it doesn't matter what time school starts. That's when they drop them off. So we just kind of have to see, and parents will have to see what the new bus schedules look like. Whether that means more kids will ride the bus or few, I don't know. But when do you think you'd be putting out that information?
Yeah, so roll-up happens in June. So roll-up means that those 5th graders that are going to go to 6th grade will know who they are, and then 8th grade going to 9th grade. Those roll-ups take place. During that roll-up process, students that were currently eligible for transportation now fall off. They're no longer eligible for transportation if they live within the 2-mile walk zone. Vice versa, if they weren't eligible before, they are now. So that data we'll know in June, but we're going to have a better picture in the next 4 to 6 weeks now, kind of like what we're looking at for busing for each one of those based on our historical numbers that we have today. And we do always look at, a plan B or worst case scenario. Anybody knows me, I always do that. And so we are planning for that as well. So increased ridership, et cetera.
Gotcha.
So we'll know as we go through, I'll know a little bit more each time we have a board meeting. I'll know a little bit more about where we are with transportation.
Well, I think Ms. Hazel, you mentioned the word communication, and I've heard Mr. Colon mention that word often. Communication, you just gotta, every time you think you've said it and done it every way you can, you got to do it another way and another time and just over and over again, so people really understand it and know what's coming and why and where and when. Got to keep doing it. I know you feel like you've done it enough, but keep informing the public. Just have to. Questions? Any further? I've started talking too much probably here. Yeah,
no, that's okay. But just to be clear, because I believe all of our band directors and chorus leaders, they do receive a supplement now. Am I correct?
That is true.
Okay. Yeah. And that would be that's something I did say to him, that moving that to the morning, then when they got off from work, they too could go home. So.
Yeah.
And I actually agree. And I've shared this with you, that I would prefer to see whatever we're doing be at no cost to the parents. But at the same time, I also know that there are kids being dropped off unsupervised very early in the morning, already an hour to an hour and a half before they're supposed to be on campus. But I'd like to see it at no cost to the parents, if at all possible.
Thank you. Okay, did you all have more to say to us?
I just got two things, if you don't mind. So one thing, I know parents are listening to us currently right now, but on Parent Portal, all the accurate information is on there. So right today you can see if your child's eligible or not for transportation. And if they're not currently using that bus services, all they have to do is visit their school, request transportation for next year, and we'll be able to have that number to be able to put that into our bus scheduling for next year as well. So that's two other things that we can actually, parents can do now to help to assist us to get more accurate information down the line.
And I think it's very important. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's very important. This is what we often see with fifth grade parents, for instance, or parents of fifth graders, where their child has always walked to school, and then they forget they're taking the bus and they don't check.
Oh yeah.
And then the first week, it's chaotic for the child, and it's stressful enough to be going to sixth grade. And so that is good information for parents to do that, to go on Parent Portal and make that check.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Haynes.
I have one more question for you, Mr. Aiken.
Sure.
So while we were in Tallahassee last week, I asked the question of every representative we met with, because there was a House bill and a Senate bill about reducing it to 1.5 miles. And unfortunately, the House never read it in order for it to go forward.
That's true.
And at that point, when we spoke with our local senator, it was out of his control to be able to move it forward. But Representative Tom Leake made a few statements, and I agree with what he said. So my question before I tell you what he said is, are we busing any of our students that are under 2 miles but are in a situation where if they were to walk, it is hazardous?
Yeah, the answer would be yes, and that hazardous walking conditions we do receive funding for, just as on the students between pre-K and sixth grade. And they consider it elementary school. So there are pockets in Volusia County. We review those hazardous walking conditions annually. That's taking place coming up now. So we're building that database, get ready to go out with a team. It's the crossing guards, the sheriff's department, and our staff. We go out and review the walking conditions to see if anything's changed. If it has, make them eligible or not, then they're off the bus. If it doesn't, then they're still on the bus. Part of Florida Statute 1006, hazardous walking conditions, basically states that the city or municipality that has the hazard must place it on their 5-year plan to be able to resolve that issue within 5 years, to take it off of the funding from the state. So we work with municipalities as well to make sure that any area that does meet the hazardous walking conditions, we do transport. Vice versa, those that are in 7th grade through 12th grade, if it's hazardous for the elementary schools, it's probably hazardous for them as well. And so we do what we call courtesy busing. Therefore, we get zero funding for it, but they're still eligible for transportation and can ride to their zone school.
Okay, and that makes me happier, except what Representative Leake said, and I agree with him. He said, do we really need to pass a bill at the state level that tells you to do this? When the truth is, we need to make sure our children are safe. And so I agree with him on that. I mean, it makes you really stop and think, do we have to ask our legislators to pass a bill for us to do what's right to make our kids safe? And so I would really like to encourage you, and I'd be even happy to go along as you look at these hazardous conditions.
We can do that.
Because I know when we went to the 2-mile rule, summer programs was the guinea pig years ago, and there were areas that were hazardous that I shared with you at that time, and I just want to make sure our kids are safe.
Sure, and I agree 100%. And so with that, and I agree, and I think what the legislation should do for funding for transportation, they should go by number of students being transported and not worry about if they're, a 1/10 of a mile from the school or 15 or 20 miles from the school. Should be how many kids are on a bus, we're going to pay for all those students. I agree 100%. And I think that's what they should be doing, and I think you would see our numbers up. Back in 2000, and I'll end here, I promise, 2007, 2008, we had a little over 3,500 students that were courtesy bused. For either hardship or courtesy busing, not counting hazardous walking conditions. So yes, we were there before. Budget constraints actually had us move away from that. And so I'd be more than happy to invite you to that hazardous walking committee It's be prepared because it's all day on the east side, all day on the west side.
No problem.
It'd be 2 days.
Yes, Ms. Guthrie.
Do you also look at bike paths?
Yes, ma'am, we do. So we look at the path of travel in accordance with Administrative Rule 6A3. So we look at the most direct route from the child's resident to the school. So we look at that walking pattern, and it could be 1 or 2 different directions that we go with when we do those measurements as well.
Is there a way to double check the walking and the biking, especially the biking? Creekside Middle has an awful lot of kids who bike to school. They have to have 2 full sections of bikes.
They do.
There's a difference between biking at 8:30 and 8:45 as opposed to maybe 9 or 9:15. Is it safer for them to go later, or is it more dangerous?
Yeah, so at Creekside Middle School, I've been out there many times looking at the issues that we've had students that were struck by vehicles, right? Mainly by a water's edge. So I know the city, working with Jake, city manager, and others, law enforcement, trying to make that area safer. When the middle school students currently come in right now, it's between 8, they start leaving at 8 o'clock at the house to get there for 9:50 start time for breakfast. A lot of our residents in that neighborhood start leaving to go to work approximately at that time as well. A later start time will actually make it safer, in my opinion, and we'll have to look at the data and look at the numbers, but because they will already be gone, and now we'll have the students come into the school as well. So that's something that we'll explore, definitely, and see what that changes at that school, particularly that school.
Yes, particularly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you both.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and now we are on item, let's see, is this 16.01, Human Resources Officer. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Purses.
I understand we have a job fair coming up. Is that right?
We do. Actually, the HR update this evening is 2 parts. I know we've had a couple of questions that I wanted to address. The first one is the by invitation only, and I know it's somewhat misleading, so I wanted to kind of explain that a little bit. It's not actually an invitation. We actually have this blasted out through Indeed.com. We have email blasts that go to universities and colleges across the country. It's actually through Handshake, which is a recruiting tool that colleges use to find positions for their upcoming graduates. It's on our national site with EdWeek. So it's all over the place. The by invitation only is really pre-registration. So when we sent out the press release the second time, we changed it from by invitation only to pre-registration. And the reasoning behind the pre-registration is so that we have an opportunity to vet the candidates that are in front of our principals to ensure that they're not individuals who are disqualified from employment or those that have DCF findings or professional standards findings or things of that nature. So we can go through and ensure that the people that the principals have in front of them for that short period of time during the job fair have been vetted and are eligible for employment with the district, and there's no issues. During the regular hiring process, principals have that time to interact with human resources and professional standards if there are flags and questions of that nature, but during the job fair, that opportunity is not there. So that's why it's that pre-registration requirement. As of 10:32 this morning, we had 181 candidates that are cleared and seated at the job fair. They're scheduled at their schools. There are 70 that were in the pipeline that they're working through and getting through the process. And that's not the only recruitment event. It's our biggest one here in the district, but we've gone to several recruiting events as far as Pittsburgh, and to date we have 87 letters of intents that have been signed for next school year. So we're working our way towards it. Wow. For the second item, I'd like to invite Kelly Schultz to join me. And so we are excited to announce that we have our first 2 recipients of the Great People, Great Deeds. The committee convened and we reviewed 59 submissions. Interestingly enough, about half of the submissions came from students.
Oh,
so
great.
As you requested, we selected 2 individuals, one from the east side, one from the west side, just as it fell this time, one's a teacher, one is support staff. That part wasn't planned. We went for the east side, west side. But it gives us great pleasure to announce that Ms. Rakia Beverly, teacher at Chisholm Elementary School, and Mr. Cody King, Office Specialist at Stark Elementary School, are the first two recipients of the Great People, Great Deeds. And we have a brief video for each of them that we're going to share with you so you can see a little bit about their submissions and why they were selected.
Perfect. I can let him know that. And he's going to hang out with me. I'm talking to him. I'm going to keep talking to him.
Volusia County Schools would like to present you with the Great People, Great Deeds Award.
There we go. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. It's exciting. I like it. It makes me feel, makes me feel good to be doing what I'm doing. I absolutely enjoy it very much. And the kids make it easy. They make it too easy. I love to be able to love on them like Jesus tells us to, and that's what I love to do here. That's why I'm here. Tomorrow's your birthday? Have a good day, man.
Nice, nice.
One more.
My favorite part about being a teacher is, well, first I teach kindergarten, so I think that's number one, my favorite. And the second part is the fact that the kids there's never a dull day. They are spontaneous. You never know what they'll say, and that can lead into further conversations and increasing their vocabulary. And it's just all natural when teaching and learning occurs in my classroom. I am humbled. I mean, I was not expecting this at all, and I'm just honored and glad to be a part of this.
And both Chad and Jerry, our district photographers, worked on those. And I know they enjoy getting in the classrooms and seeing what's going on.
And to Madeline Sheminti, who's in Technology Services, she's working on the website, and those videos will be available on the Great People, Great Deeds website starting tomorrow.
Great. So when did they find out, or when was it announced?
Well, we notified their principal first and let them know that they were going to get the award, and then we surprised them when we showed up.
Ah, good. A surprise. That's nice. That's really nice, yeah. Good job.
Okay. Could you remind us, pardon me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Could you remind us how often we're doing this?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month. That's wonderful. Thank you. And I love the fact that we're doing all staff.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's a rolling list, which is it was really hard to choose. So there are a lot of great candidates for this. So this is fun.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Do they get to keep that video link? Do you give that?
They will be on the website, and so what will happen is when we go to next month, the next month will be prominent, but they will fall to an archive side. They'll still be on the website, and they'll just become archived by month.
Good, yeah, because I'm sure they'd like to show their relatives and friends forever. Forever. All right, thank you. And is there another part, Dan? And Mr. Cologne had a comment?
So I wanted to say we're doing better. We are up to 21 instructional vacancies on our page. Where are the rest of them?
You will probably see them fall off at the end of this week because allocations come out next Monday, so it will prep for the job fair, and then you will see a lull for a period of time because we move into the non-reappointment displacement process, and before we start hiring people from the outside, because of the time of the year that we're at, we have to place people, and you will see it pick up again the very beginning of May, and it will be flooded.
So that's number one. Then number two, have we looked into getting rid of that very first question for the Social Security number at the gate?
Actually, the reason we have Social Security numbers is for identification purposes, and what I can I can explain it to you this way. When we moved into our True North Logic system, which is our evaluation system, which is half of our employees, when we were drilling down to the data, the number of people who had the same first name, last name, I cannot make it up, middle name or middle initial, and even date of birth, we had like 3 or 4 people. So the only way we could distinctly identify people was Social Security number. And also in the application system with the same names, that really is the only way. They don't get assigned an employee ID until after they become an employee. So that's the reason there's Social Security numbers. With the new ERP system, when they roll past the application into the employee system, it will be employee numbers. We will not be using Social Security numbers.
So once we get the new system, we'll take away that, because it's right at the door.
It will still be in the application system because that's the only way I can distinguish you, Ruben Cologne, from another Ruben Cologne in the system.
I understand what you're saying. I just think it's so discouraging because before folks even know what job is out there and apply, we're asking them for their social. And so I think that'll be a deterrent at the door. And so I think that further shuts our front door. So I mean, normally in any regular job interview, you provide that information after you've made that contact. I mean, it is like dead smack right when you're putting in first name, last name, Social Security number. And so if we could look, I mean, again, I'm trying to see what we can do to make sure our front door is wide open so that folks can easily walk in and we can capture employees. That right there personally would be a deterrent, and I'd move on to another district for me.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah, Ms. Cuthbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could we use the last 4 numbers?
We can look into that.
Yeah, because we have a lot of credit card companies and a lot of other people are just using the last 4 numbers. And that way you don't give away all your ID.
But they can actually look at the vacancies without logging in.
Okay.
But to create a profile, you have to...
Right, but you can, like, I can go there right now, never log in, look at all the vacancies, and then if they see a vacancy they want to apply for, then at that point they'll have to create a profile to go in and fill out an application. But anyone could go on right now and look at what's there without creating a profile. You can click on any of the 3.
Let me ask you, Ms. Paige Pender, the Great Florida Teach-In, does that still go on, and do we still send
does.
principals there?
It does. It was actually this past Monday. It was in Orlando. We did send a group down there.
When you say a group of principals?
We sent principals, and we also had Heidi Coaches and Robin King, our certification, and our recruiter went.
And does that draw? It used to draw like thousands.
It doesn't.
Of course, there aren't thousands and thousands of applicants anymore either. So
we received a list of people registered last week, and when we went in and sorted the list, I think there were 762 names on the list, but when we went and sorted and pulled out the duplicates, we were less than 500. So you're talking about 67 districts competing for 500 people that were on that list. So they did go on Monday.
Have you heard from them? Did they?
I did. They had a couple of LOIs. Some of our other trips, like the Pittsburgh trip, we sent 2 principals that were actually from the area. One actually graduated from the area, and that's a huge area because those teachers in that area wait 6 years or so to try to get a teaching position. So that's not the first time we've gone to that particular job fair, and they have a lot of majors in, they call it special education, what is known as our ESE. So it's very lucrative, and one of the principals who went has hired a few people from those job fair trips. So that's one that we try to make every year, and they came back, I think, with 6 LOIs.
That's great. Thank you. Any other questions for any comments, Mr. Superintendent? Good.
We're good. Thank
We're good. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the great work on the videos, too. Thank your video photographers.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could we have a small break?
Oh, you want a break? Sure. We can take a break, and can we make it about a 10-minute break? 10-minute break.
And helped us through these tragedy times, and their reason is the reason we are alive today.
Academics are very important to Proud, that he knows the priorities in life and he has no problem getting them all done. He went to a leadership and vision program at Yale University where he learned all about business entrepreneurship.
If everyone could please take their seats again, we'll get our meeting started. Get our meeting started so we can go home. Get started.
I didn't move.
Ms. Fisher, are you in the audience? Yay. She's here. All right. All right, thank you for indulging us on a little break, and we'll get our meeting restarted here, and we are on item 17.01, and we do these two together, 17.01 and 17.02. Ms. Cynthia Fisher, Coordinator of Educational Enhancements, is our speaker, presenter. Good evening.
Good evening again, Chairman Persis, school board members, and Mr. Russell. For the first request, a recommendation is made that the superintendent request the board extend the suspension on students Alpha ID 1RZQF, 1TGSE, 1PBDQ, 1PTOX, 1RPWG, 1RDEE, 1RPXE, 1RLUI, 1SXSS, 1TWYG, and 1PMAO from school attendance through April 30th, 2019 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
The superintendent recommends the board extend the suspension of the aforementioned students from school attendance through April 30th, 2019 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colon. A second by Ms. Wright. All those in favor? Question? Question, Ms. Cuthbert?
Ms. Fisher, why so many?
Well, that's a good question. I wish I had the answer to that, Ms. Cuthbert. These are students, as you know, that have had situations that were very egregious, and we are, in most of these cases, in some cases, some students may be awaiting some evaluations. But in these particular cases, it's because students have pretty significant charges, and we're waiting to see what's happening with them, and so they are being served through our virtual programs, through off-campus instruction. So they are still being served, but at this point, we're not ready to say that it's safe for them to be back on our campus. And so until we're sure that it's safe for them as well as the other folks on the campus, we extend these suspensions. As soon as there are changes, we update the list.
Okay. And one more thing. I noticed there's one young person who's a 12th grader. Would this jeopardize his graduation?
No, we work very closely with the homeschool as well as the virtual program to assure that if that student were going to graduate on his or her campus, then we're going to do that as well. I know there's one on there, and that particular student is very close. I don't think there's going to be an issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed. So the motion carries unanimously. Ms. Fisher, 17.02.
For the second request, a recommendation is made that the superintendent request the board extend the suspension on students Alpha ID 1PMRX, 1VZYH, and 1TVV19 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
Thank you. Superintendent?
The superintendent recommends the board extend the suspension of the aforementioned students from school-sponsored transportation through April 30th, 2019 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
Thank you. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colon. Any discussion? We have a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. Yes, Mr. Colon.
Mr. Chair, I think appropriate at this time. Last night we were at the Faith Rally, and in front of an audience of 1,600 folks, we committed to create a plan to reduce our out-of-school suspensions by 50% by 2022.
Yes.
And so appropriately so, I'd like to make the motion that we instruct the superintendent to create a plan to reduce the number of out-of-school suspensions by 50% by the year 2022, which is 3 years.
Yes, that's what we did say. And we clarified that to make sure it was 3 years, right?
Yes, 3 years.
All right. So we have Ms. Cuthbert, you were not there, so I want to give you the benefit of asking any questions, or I guess it's pretty straightforward.
There's only one thing I need to make everybody aware. I represent Volusia County Schools on the board. I'm on the board of directors with the Florida School Board Association. And as we all well know, there's a grand jury that has been convened. And part of what they're saying, I didn't know about this motion, so I've got to find the situation. The governor's petition is looking at crimes committed in the school district. And they're looking at whether we have refusal or failure to follow the mandates of school-related safety laws, that we do not report violence in our schools. We would be held accountable. So we have to make sure that we also follow the school mandates, the state mandates about reporting crime, reporting if somebody threatens to harm an individual or a building. We need to make sure that if this plan goes through, that it also respects what the state legislature is expecting us to do as well. Because if we have reported and law enforcement telling us that these incidents are occurring, of course they would be suspended from school, but how can we reduce it if law enforcement continues? So if we do this, I would love to have law enforcement involved, because only through working with them, like they want to do civil citations, but I just don't want to get the school district in trouble with state law. And because we have to report crime, and we would be held accountable if we do not report it.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's any intent to sugarcoat anything
right.
here.
And it has nothing to do with like major crimes. Actually, it's really misdemeanors or sleeping in class, or, I mean, there are some issues, but I mean, we do have some circumstances, and I think we heard last night, as we talked previously, when we have children, we're seeing children on the autism spectrum growing, but they're being suspended.
Right.
And so now would you, and some of them are violent, depending on what the diagnosis is. So would we now label them as a criminal, or do they have a, I don't want to say justifiable, but do they have a documented health issue that actually they are unable to control? And so in just looking at all of that, it is never the intent to undermine it or...
Well, that's why I want them involved, to be able to distinguish, and we have to distinguish the difference of what we have to do and as opposed to what we can control.
Correct.
So I need that needs to be in the language. I was at an Alpha Delta Kappa meeting last night, which is my sorority. It's an international sorority for female educators. And there was a program that I had to see, and it was on human trafficking. I have spoken to Mr. Russell about it, and what it was, because we were all teachers, she talked to us about the signals that teachers see within their students in the classroom, why they act out. And it might be a medical, it might be on the spectrum, but they could also be being abused or trafficked. And she said she never, the lady who presented it is she is the state, the Senate, the Florida Senate's Hero of the Year for 2018. She lives over in Sanford. And I gave Mr. Russell the information because somehow, some way, right away I thought of Faith. This is some way that we could train people just to be on the lookout for those other issues. And that could be also part of why children misbehave. We just don't know what's happening in their lives at home. And if we can be a little more aware of, is it a spectrum? Is it, law enforcement? So we need to work with law enforcement as well. Because if someone says, well, I'm just going to take care of these walls right here, is it because he's asking for attention, or is it because he was, or she, just was being coerced by, or double dare you if you do, or double dare you if you don't. So there are a lot of reasons behind it.
Let me get the superintendent. He wanted to say something.
And I think that falls right in line with restorative justice. It's getting to, it's about relationships. It's getting to know the children. As we've heard in various settings, identifying behaviors, and then when they do act out, how to restore them and make them whole, and then return them to the classroom. And once this is written, before I bring it to the board, I'll share it with Sheriff Chitwood as well, and just let him see what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you for the motion. We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed. And the motion carries. Faith people out there, faith group, you really hung in here the whole night. That was, ought to be some star you get on the way out or something. I don't know. Thank you. All right. Now where are we? We are at 18.01. This is public comment on School Board Policy 801. Do we have any cards? We don't have any cards, so I'll say the public comment section is now closed, and move on to 19.01. This is adoption of amendment to School Board Policy 801, public participation in school board meetings. Presenter, Mr. Greg Aiken.
Chairman Persons,
I feel like we've talked about this since January.
We have. So, Mr. Russell, thank you for this opportunity to bring back our policy 801. As you mentioned, this amends the current policy now. We did advertise February 26, 2019. This evening, we had the opportunity to advertise that for 30 days. Tonight's the night that you need to vote on either accepting it or make me do something else, I guess. So the three major areas that have changed would be time for public comments, approval of the consent agenda, that they can do public input, time certain meetings, and then also before board comments or action items that we're doing here this evening. So if there's, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have on the policy that I have here tonight for you.
I have it memorized.
And I'll turn it over to Mr. Russell for the recommendation.
Proposed amendments to School Board Policy 801, public participation in school board meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Clone. Discussion? I know what you're going to say. Ms. Cuthbert, go ahead.
I'm vehemently against this policy as written. Am I against people having the opportunity to speak? Absolutely not. But it says in the third paragraph, in order to maximize public comment, the chair may, when practical, provide additional time for comment and or adjust the time available. So you can add or you can subtract. On the second page, it's number 2. Number 2, time certain for any matter related to education at 5 o'clock or soon thereafter. As practical, a total of 15 minutes only. Number 4, again, speakers before board comments, 15 minutes will be provided. B, number 2, a total of 15 minutes will be provided at our meetings at 6:30, and number 4, 15 minutes will be provided. That is censorship. It is limiting. If someone from my neighborhood who travels the 50 minutes to an hour to get here and happens to be the 6th person, if it's a controversial issue, as we've seen many times in this boardroom, and that person is cut off because the 15-minute time has expired, that's unfair. And I think it's undemocratic, and it's censorship. And that's why I'm against this policy as written. If you would have it so that it's unlimited time, Whoever shows up, if someone takes the time to come and speak, then that person has the right to speak. And that's why I'm against it. And I do understand the policy.
Well, as you all know, I generated this policy after speaking with the people at the Florida School Board Association, and they are in total agreement with this policy. With all due respect, it's not censorship. They are absolutely want to remind all boards that the agenda is our agenda. The business of what we advertise is on the agenda. That is the school board's business. And as soon as we make that motion at the beginning of the meeting to approve the agenda, it no longer becomes the superintendent's agenda. It becomes ours. And what's been advertised to the public, the people that come into these public meetings for one of these items on the agenda. And so it's just fair and respectful for everyone in the audience to know that this board is going to be doing the business and picking up the topics and talking to each other about the business on the advertised agenda. We will have time for people to speak about the weather and sports and anything else that they want to speak about, but understand that the people who are here are really here for what is on here and not to hear about the weather and sports. They want to come to this meeting and as soon as possible hear the item that they're here for. So limiting that time frame of to 15 minutes and then giving them another opportunity at the end of the meeting if they want to speak, that would be fine too. The sentence, Ms. Cuthbert, you mentioned about the chair has the, I don't know what the word is, prerogative to extend the time or change the time. I put that in there because purposely that's what was suggested to me from the School Board Association, because they said, you know, if there's one more person out there, let that person speak. Well, of course, I'm not going to let one or two. So that we have a time frame, 15 minutes, but if it had to go to 20 minutes, you know, that would be fine. But you want that to be up to the chair and not just so that the people in the audience are not going to have to sit through 2 hours of comment that has nothing to do with what is on here. Not that that comment isn't important, but it's probably important to be heard at a different meeting. What we are doing, and the Florida School Board Association totally agrees with this, is to give the public the opportunity to weigh in on every item. And we don't do that here now. We just say, come in the beginning of the meeting, and then that's it. So but this will give, this is going to expand the opportunity and really do it, and I think in a timely way. So I know it may seem like that it's going to be less, but I think it's going to actually turn out to be more. At least that's my intent, to have to ensure that that we as a board want to hear from the public about items that are on the agenda, items that we're going to vote on, items that may change policy. You know, those are the real critical needs. So that's where it came from, and I'm sorry that it may look like that, but in my heart of hearts, that is not my intention of all. And as far as the time frames go too, because Mr. Colon, I know you were very strong about when we start the 3:30 meeting to have the give public time, like started at 5 o'clock. I think that was the time that we all agreed on. And 5 o'clock means it wouldn't start before 5 o'clock. If we're involved in a discussion, I'm not going to say, oh, we can't talk anymore, it's 5 o'clock. No, we will finish doing whatever we're doing, and if we have public participation at 10 minutes after 5, then that's what it would be. And the same goes for when we have a 5:30 meeting. I think we said public input is at 6:30, and so that means it wouldn't occur before 6:30. So if anybody was trying to get here, they wouldn't be shut out. They would know it's not going to start before 6:30. So that gives people just a lot of notice. That's why we came to the place where we are now.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
In all due respect, everything you just said is not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the 15-minute limit.
Yeah.
So they can speak however, according to the policy they want to. Just don't limit them. If one person's there or no person's, that's fine. But if 7 people want to speak at that time because they have to go home and relieve a babysitter or whatever it is, then they should have the opportunity to speak at that particular time.
And I think that's where you're just going to have to trust the chair to make that call.
We have different chairs.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
every year there's
I
a
would
different
trust
chair.
all of them because the chair will have the cards. The chair will know. Just like I know every, as soon as it starts, I ask Kelly how many cards we have. And if she says we have 6, so 6. And, sometimes you get 6 people speaking from the public that you can do it in 15 minutes. Not everybody speaks the full 3 anyway. I understand. Yes, Mr. Clough.
And so I look at it in a sense that it's going to give folks more of a voice. Example, if you wanted to make a general comment of how you feel, let's say today, about this time schedule, that was not on the agenda. I didn't realize today that we had not adopted it, which is interesting because we actually did, although we haven't, because there's a space right ahead of this one for public comment. And so let's say Miss Albert, for example, wanted to speak about something that happened in last meeting. She had 3 minutes right now. But she doesn't have that time later on to talk about textbooks. Now she gets another 3 minutes at the conversation of textbooks. If we have a conversation about making a decision about, discipline, like we just had a motion, if that had been on the agenda, she would have had another 3 minutes to speak on that specific topic. And so,
no, because they only can speak at board action items.
well, that was a board action item.
No.
It would have been on the agenda had we put it on the agenda. And so what I'm saying is those things that are on the agenda that require action, arguably she would have the opportunity to come up here 5 times so she could say what she, the position of her organization at the beginning. When we get to currently the way it is, that's it. That's your only chance. 3 minutes, that's all. You're done. Now she would have the opportunity to come, as we have here in this, as an action item, to come speak about that. If there was another action item, she would be able to speak another 3 minutes about that. Currently, it's only 3 minutes. And it's 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, which we may not get to that action item till 9 o'clock at night. Now, I will tell you, and this is how they do it in the city of Deltona, they'll have times where they'll have a lot of people speak and the board will make a motion to extend that time, and with a consensus, they'll extend that time. I was prepared to do that today with the knowing that folks were going to be passionate about the school times, and we had 12 cards, and at the end of the day, I'm not sure if the language of the chair versus a consensus of the board would make a difference. I happen to think that, the chair would do the right thing or the board would do the right thing. I tell you, I'd be prepared to make the I'll throw it out there. I love you, man. But, I think that we're actually giving more time so that there could be better conversations on a topic rather than sharing 3 minutes for 6 different subjects. So I believe that it actually expands the public's time to speak and not limit them to speak.
I know. We've said this we've said it before. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. Ms. Cuthbert is in disagreement. All right, we are now on item to advertise amendments to School Board Policy 510, Safety and Security of Students. Mr. Aiken.
All right. Again, Greg Aiken, Chief Operating Officer, Chairman Persis, board members, Mr. Russell, thank you. This is, as you mentioned, this Support Services Policy 510 is updated to reflect changes in statute and rules in reference to personnel property, safety security standards for students, staff, and personnel. The policy, and I'm sure you had an opportunity to read through this, words stricken are deletions, or words underlined are additions. This is based on Senate Bill 7026 from last year, and other statutory language that have changed, including an administrative rule. And what this policy does for us this evening for the reading and input for the next month is to bring in line our current policy into what's out there currently today. And based on this, we have our safety security plans and procedures already put in place to meet these mandates that are here. If you wish, I can go through each section if you wish, or if you have questions, I can answer it that way, whichever you prefer.
It's my preference for you not to go through it by section.
I was just saying, I was going to offer.
I understand. I appreciate your offer.
Okay.
Now, does anybody have any questions, though? Yes.
And so I asked a question about procedures, so I'm going to ask, and of course it was said that those are top secret.
Well,
and so I think I'm going to ask for the benefit of those of us that were not here when these were developed, can we plan an executive session where we could review? Because I want to see the procedures that go along with these policies so that we understand what it's supposed to look like when we go on a campus. There's supposed to be somebody standing by a gate that's open. And so we know and so I want to ensure that, because as Ms. Cuthbert said, there is now personal liability on board members individually for ensuring that these mandates are being followed. And so just want to be able to match the changes to the procedures to make sure that they're all match.
Well, I'm not sure exactly which procedures that you can share or not share. I'm not.
Yeah. So with the board, Florida Statute 119.07, anything related to security ports, mapping, processes, equipment, procedures are protected from public release, right? So for media and public release. So I think what Mr. Colon is asking is that, can I go over that with each of you? The answer is yes, I can. I can share it with you. Then it's confidential in nature, right? And so then you wouldn't share it with anyone else, obviously, at that point forward. And we could do that. I mean, but this is going to dictate what we need to do, boots on the ground, to make sure we follow OPAGA's Office of Programs, Policies, and Governmental Accountability, best practices, the new language that's put out, and then anticipating 7030. So
yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So there's nothing preventing Mr. Colon to call you and say, can we meet, and you can reveal anything. Would that be okay with you? And that goes for anybody else if you want to have a private meeting with Greg to go through those procedures, I think. Yeah.
Yes. So we have a comprehensive emergency management plan, which is a huge document that I manage with the superintendent and our safety specialist. And then we have our individual safety security plan that goes to the schools, and then plans to go to the teachers. So I'll be more than happy to review all of that, to set aside, an afternoon, and I'll be more than happy to answer any and all of your questions to go through that in detail.
No, I appreciate that. That's because the response to the email was, that's top secret.
Well, top secret, but it's confident. It is confidential, right?
Well, sure, as it should be. No, as it should be. Yeah,
so,
of course.
I wouldn't be discussing a lot of those things here. The things that we bring for the board is things that are public record, and so I can share that. Others are not, and so we would not share in the public setting.
I remember up until Sandy Hook, all of our security plans were public.
They were posted on a webpage. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so those can't be shared. But for instance, one of your schools, you can, that we can use that as an example. their security plan and share that with you, go through it, and you'll see how it correlates.
Right, and as we're changing, I guess what I'm really looking for is as we're changing our policy, that our procedures also match.
And they do. So actually the procedures match this currently right now, and they match currently what's in all of the statute language, and we're following all of that. And then we anticipate some Senate Bill 7030, some additional added responsibilities that are also already laid out in our procedure plan for next year.
All right, so you are asking us to authorization to advertise.
To advertise.
Just to advertise.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so Mr. Superintendent?
The superintendent recommends the authorization to advertise the proposed amendments to School Board Policy 510, Safety and Security of Students, Personnel, and Property.
Thank you. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we take this amended policy and have Mr. Aiken publish it in form of advertising, and that would be Policy 510.
Policy 510. Thank you. Ms. Cuthbert, and a second from... Second from Ms. Haynes. Thank you. You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 And those opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. You are authorized to advertise the amendments to School Board Policy 510.
Thank you. And if any other board member wishes to hear that, it'd be...
I know it's been a long day. And we are at the end here. Items 20.01, items from the board, superintendent, or attorney for discussion. I want to thank Mr. Doran for his guidance through our charter school applications today. It was really kind of different, We had that one that was rah-rah, and then the second one, during the break, he came to me, and we ended up the best course of action, I think, for him. And then on the last one, we had a full-blown hearing on it, and a lot of discussion and staff time involvement. So 3 totally different applications, but I want to thank you and give you an opportunity. You have any comments?
The only thing I want to mention is I will be personally out the month of May, so Mr. Sims, Larry Sims, I think you all know him. He's been here before. He will fill in for those 2 board meetings, so I just want to mention it.
Got it. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. And we want to start this way and go around, or nothing? Mr. Cologne, anything?
I wanted to bring up, and it's something that I mentioned to the superintendent, as we're going into this school year, we owe it to our students to have some stability. And, we have an expected level of chaos because we're going live with a lot of things at once. And one of the things that I've always didn't really quite understand, it's the way that we move our principals around. And the last thing our kids need is that instability of folks being moved around. In my district alone, I know it topped 100 transitions in just a short period of time in 15 schools. And so I know it's been the habit of the district to have these conversations before bringing it to the board, but I would like to be a part of that conversation. And it's not to say whether or not somebody is good or bad, that's not the intent, but to deem whether that transition is even necessary prior to it coming to us where it's kind of the point of no return. Right now, our students, the times are changing, there's so much going on. And he did agree that we did need the stability, but I am not in favor of what we have done in the last years where we just move people around, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason. I just would rather know about it. And I've asked several times, at least for my district, are there any plans? Are there any plans? Because I'm starting to hear the buzz, and there's a direct correlation between the longevity of a principal at a school and student achievement. And when a principal can't tell you, yes, I'm going to be here next year, what that tells you is that they're not vested. They don't let those roots grow deep because they are subject to being moved, and I think that's the overall feeling because of the way that we have done things. So I don't know if anybody else agrees or disagrees. I guess it's more so for a discussion. But I would like to see, when these come before us, are they the best candidates? I'd like to see, and again, I may be out of place, I'd like to see these positions posted. What if there's an AP that's from Seminole County that wants to come to Volusia County, and we didn't give them the opportunity because we just swapped somebody over? Maybe they're in a county where they'll never get the opportunity to become a principal because of hierarchy, and they may want to make a jump over. And so I'd like to see those positions posted. Maybe we will get candidates that are good for that position. I think we've sort of closed ourselves to the rest of the world, and I think in our hiring practice, we really just need to open up, I think. And so I would like to see, because right now I can tell you in my district, there's already grumblings of who's going where, and the person's heard it from everybody else, but they haven't heard it from them officially, and that brings uncertainty, and uncertainty is a detriment specifically to our kids. And the one study that I keep referring to actually says that good principals use bad schools or lower or impoverished schools as stepping stones to get where they want to get. Yet the principals who may not be the rock stars will tend to just gravitate to those schools where poverty is. And so at the end of the day, those students are at a loss. It's science. It's a study. It was done. And so I think that especially in a year where we've got so much going on, I would just like to be a part of that conversation before there's no point to provide input, because the cake has already been taken out, the streamers are already hung, and the balloons are already inflated.
Well, I will, yeah, and let me just say something that I know, of course, because this is your deal, and we don't hire people, as you know, and that is him, that is his call. I will tell you this, though, being in the system for as long as I have, and you can comment on this. This time of year, right after spring break, everybody, the rumor mill just cranks up, and because all the assistant principals are wanting that principal to move out so they can take that person's job, and there's speculation about this person's going to retire, or no, that person's not going to retire, or I heard they were, I heard they're not, and now we add to it, I heard so and so is going to go to Flagler County. Oh, I heard that too, and it just spirals, and it just gets everybody all worked up, and at the end of the day, the superintendent is responsible for the whole district. And sometimes it is very disappointing when they take a school's popular principal and the superintendent feels like, I know this person's loved here and all of that, but I really need this person at another place because we have issues here and we got to put a good principal there. And he has the task of, when he moves a good principal, to fill that position with another good principal. And so, and I'll just say this and then you finish it, but it seems to me, since I've been on the board, that when you were going to make a principal change or assistant superintendent and move somebody up to a higher level, that you've usually contacted us and said, here's what I'm thinking.
It's a short list.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. Give you time to weigh in that, or ask why, or who is that person, credentials,
And that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. But please, because
I want to say right now, no decision on anybody being moved has occurred. It has not. And so I'm not saying it will not, but with the in the Marine term, the scuttlebutt out there that, oh, I hear this person's being moved, that person's being moved, I can tell you with 100% certainty, we're not there yet. And I do want to mention, we do interview We have candidates that, for instance, a couple weeks ago, a young man who is an assistant principal in Orange County came to us and was interviewed. And quite frankly, he's a keeper, you know. So we have hired, some of our principals are from outside of the district. We have, in some cases, especially with district staff, we've advertised some positions statewide. I mean, if you look at my cabinet, look how many of my cabinet members are originally from outside of the district. You know, it's quite a few. You know, people, you know, often say that there's a good old boy system, but if you look at my cabinet and how we've hired, yeah, some are from within the district and some have come from outside of the district. I do want to minimize, you know, transfers, and sometimes principals will call and will say, I just want to be closer to home, or I need a change, or, you know, assistant principals do the same thing. They want to move to different levels. But yes, I will, we will get to that point, and we'll be there soon. You know, we'll be happy to sit down with board members and share that information so you know ahead of time.
That's good. Good point. Go ahead, Ms. Cologne. You have the floor. Okay. Ms. Haynes?
Well, I was actually going to agree with Mr. Cologne.
Yeah.
Because last year there were 25 assistant principal moves made on one single day in May.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And I was fortunate when I came to Volusia County that we worked on people staying in a place and building relationships with their parents and the community and the kids and the teachers, and they knew that they were going to be there. And unfortunately, what I have seen over the last few years is this, oh, they're just here for a year, or they'll be gone, they'll move them, and there's not the buy-in or the stability that we need for our students. So I too, knowing that we're coming up to that time of the year, I'm concerned, and I feel that really unless someone is doing harm, and if they're doing harm, I don't think they should just be shuffled and moved. I think we need to be tough and say they're not the right person for this level of a job, and we need to make that move, not just move them to another school. But I'd like to see us moving back, and I'm going to use an example. When I came to Volusia County Schools, shortly thereafter, Joanne Rodkey became the principal at Woodward Elementary. She went to that school, and she got to know that community, and she was active in that community, and those teachers built a relationship with her, and those parents and those students did. Now, she stayed there until she retired, but what a legacy she left behind because she was committed. And another example is Mamie Otis. I worked with Mamie when she was out at Pine Ridge as an AP, but when she went to Southwestern Middle School as the principal, she did the same thing. Everybody knew it. On Sundays, she went to a different church in her community so that the kids saw her at church and they knew that she cared, and she made a difference until they retired. And we just haven't been doing that any longer. But I mean, we did it for years. Marilyn Travis at Reed Patillo. I mean, you can list all the people that this is what they did. But, you know, last May, when all of a sudden in one evening, we moved just alone 25 assistant principals, and how many principals? And we moved some people after 1 year, okay? And so we're not building trust with our parents and our community and our students and our staff that we're going to keep someone there so that they can build that relationship. So why would they want to invest in it? And it's not a matter of who goes there or not. It's just a matter of we need to build a better culture, I feel.
That's your challenge.
It's a challenge.
That's your challenge. But thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to say other than just agree with Mr. Cologne? Was there any other? Okay. Okay. Miss Wright, you are good.
Well, went to the county elected officials meeting on behalf of our chair, and most of you know the big push now is for half-cent sales tax for the county for roads and water, and so they are encouraging that you vote. The ballots will be mailed out. You should have them by May 1st. They are due back by May 22nd. And we do sit on that council. I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just telling you to vote. It's up to you if you decide to or not. I want to chime in on your conversation, the two of you, because I want to digress a little. We often say that we don't hire outside, normally out of the district. That could be good or bad, because we have a lot of good people in here who sometimes are overlooked. And hiring outside, again, good or bad, we send a message because you have one office who say we don't hire outside, but we do. So either we hire outside of the district or we don't. So I just think we have to get our language together and decide if we do want to hire, be it assistant principals or principals from externally, then do so. But if someone walk in our district with the same qualifications, been through the training, and have never been an assistant principal, they should be considered for a position as well.
Correct.
We need to, and I talked to Ms. Paige Pender, and I know they changed the program of how we do teacher or principal training, because that was a key. And so we have so many novice principals, and I think that is a challenge, because some people, I'm a firm believer, everybody that's a great teacher is not a great leader, period. And believe it, sometimes some of the worst teachers are really great leaders. It happens that way. I mean, we can look at it. Some people should be leaders, and some people should not. The thing is, sometimes we realize that after we put people in leadership roles, or we don't. And we do have to act quickly, because, and we do sometimes move them around to a different location, and we shouldn't. We just got to become tough and say, I'm sorry. You're either demoted or terminated. It really comes down that simple. So I think we, not us, I think Superintendent and Dana, they are looking at all of that, and I just, it's tough decisions. Picking leaders are not easy, and I'm glad I'm not in your position, but we don't always pick the right person, not because we don't think they have the skill set. We think they have the skill set until we put them in that position. And we learn quickly that they do not. And I think we have to move quickly, and that's why sometimes you see the changes that you do. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms.
Can
Cuthbert,
I
go
add
ahead.
something? And sometimes I taught middle school as well as high school, and I'm a better high school teacher than I'm a middle school teacher. And when you put a principal or an assistant principal or district, you put them in a high school, they may not be as comfortable as they are, because it's that natural intent. And then I think it was 2 years ago, Palm Terrace found itself in a need to have a change in principals. Mr. Russell had Mr. Tucker Harris moved from Ormond Elementary to Palm Terrace because they needed him more. Was it because he was a poor principal? No, he was a great principal that has made great strides at Palm Terrace. But then the Ormond Elementary parents were furious. But what Mr. Russell put into place, what the district did, is they put out several candidates and put together a committee of the primaries and the what's the next level up?
Intermediate.
Intermediate, thank you. PTA, administrative staff, community members, to select. They interviewed those candidates, and they got to select their own principal, and they're very happy. And there was a promise made to keep that principal there. So sometimes we have to make movements, but we always have to think what's best for that leader, whatever form that leader takes place. Can that leader lead the school, especially in the climate that's necessary? Sometimes there's an emergency and sometimes not. And I also want to say, where's she here? Where's our ESE director? Oh, she left. We interviewed her over, what was it, television or internet? Was she from Skype? Thank you. It's been a long day. Didn't we do that? And isn't she from Illinois?
She is. We hired another person from Illinois. She came down to see us.
Oh, okay. So
Orange Elementary.
that we use all, and I know Dana Page Pender does that a lot as well, using Skype. So we had one teacher, I think is at Spruce Creek Elementary, is from Hawaii, and was interviewed over Skype.
Miss Wright, do you have
no,
more?
Finished.
You're good? Okay, then this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.